Hi friends, so in this class we will discuss percentage simplifications. Most of the examinations they are asking one or two questions from the percentage calculations. So if you look at the IBPS and SBI, so in IBPS POs or IBPS clerks or SBI POs or SBI clerks or SSC or RRB, there will be at least one questions based on the percentage simplifications. In this topic, you will not discuss the entire percentage topics, only you will discuss the percentage values. What are the percentage values we have to calculate very easily? So one is how to calculate 10% of a certain value. Second thing is how to calculate 5% of a certain value, and how to calculate 1% of a certain value, right? So these three are very important in percentage simplifications, right? So first you will discuss how to calculate the 10% of a certain number. Once you know how to calculate the 10% of a certain number, you will discuss multiple of 10 percentages, like how to calculate 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, like the multiples of all percentages. Okay now friends, so let us discuss first how to calculate a 10% of value. So always friends, remember 10% of a certain number. Let us take a certain number is 100. Suppose if you want to calculate the 10% of 100, always remember that 10% means last digit you should eliminate. Okay, if it is a last digit is a 0, we can eliminate the 0. If last digit is not a 0, then we have to take a decimal after one place from the right hand side to left hand side. Okay now friends, so I am telling you again, 10% of a certain number means if the number is ending with a 0, we have to eliminate that 0. Suppose if the number is not ending with a 0, we have to take a decimal from right hand side to left hand side after one place. Okay, now we will discuss how to calculate 10% of 100 means last digit is a 0, so I am eliminating the 0. So 10% of 100 is equal to how much? 10. Similarly, 10% of 200. So what is the 10% of 200? Here last digit is a 0, so I am eliminating the 0, so answer is a 20. Suppose 10% of 350. So 10% of 350 means here the last digit is equal to 0, so eliminate the 0, so we have to write only 35. Okay, similarly if I want to calculate 10% of 4840, whatever the number, it is a 3 digit number or 4 digit number or 5 digit number or single digit number or 2 digit number, if 0 is there you have to eliminate. So 10% of 4840 means last digit is 0, we should eliminate 0, 484. Similarly 10% of 850. So 89,850, what is the 10%? Eliminate the last place. Okay, so remaining answer is equal to how much will come? 89 and 85. Okay now friends, so always 10% means you have to eliminate the last digit. If you come to the year 10% of, I want to calculate 20. 10% of 20 means here two places are there, so eliminate the last place, so answer is equal to how much will come? 2. Understood friends? Similarly, if I take 10% of 9, if I take 10% of 9 means here only single number is there, so you have to take the one place. After one place you have to take the decimal, so answer is equal to how much will come? 0.9. Similarly 10% of 28, how to calculate the 10% of 28 means here two places are there, it's not ending with the 0, so you have to take decimal place after one number from the right hand side to left hand side. So here I am taking one number, so here how much will it come? 2.8. Similarly 10% of 354. So what is the 10% of 354 means? Here also there is no ending with the 0, we have to take one place, that means how much will it come? 35.4. Okay friends, 10% of 4843. So here also we have to take it 10% of this number. So what is the 10% of this number? Take the decimal from the last number. So answer is a 484.3. Okay friends, so I took all the places single digit numbers. Suppose if I take 10% of decimal places, 0.2 is there. So how to take the 10% of 0.2 means whenever the number of decimal places are there, it will be increased. One decimal place is increased. That means 10% of 0.2 means it will be increased one decimal place. So you can write 0.2. If one place is there, it will come two places. If there are two places are come, three places will come in the answer. If there are three places in the number, 10% of that number will comes to 4 decimal places. For example, 10% of 0.04. Nothing but here two places are there. If I want to calculate 10%, one more place will be added. That means 0.004. Okay now friends, everybody understood? So these are the how to calculate the 10% of a certain number. Once you know the 10% of certain number, we have to calculate the multiple of 10%, like 20%, 30%, 40%. You will discuss how to calculate. Right friends, now I am calculating the multiple of 10%. For example, I want to calculate 20% of 140. So how to calculate 20% of 140? So first always calculate the 10%, then based on that value we have to multiply 2 or 3 or 4. So here first I will calculate the 10%. What is the 10% of 140? 14. So once I got the 10%, now I have to calculate 20%. 20% means 2 times of 10%. That means we have to multiply it by 2. Okay friends, so 2 into 14, which is equal to how much will it come? 28. Right friends. Similarly, I will give 2-3 examples. 20% of 3560. So I have to calculate 3560, 20%. First I will calculate the 10%. 10% of this number is nothing but ending with 0. So I have to write 356. Now I have to calculate 20%. That means 2 times of 10% is equal to 20%. So I have to multiply it by 2. Right? So it's nothing but how much will it come? 2 6 are 12, 1, 2 5 are 10 plus 1, 11, 2 3 are 6 plus 1, 7. So 20% of 3560 is nothing but how much will come? 712. Similarly, I will take 20% of 48. So what is the 20% of 48? First calculate the 10%. What is the 10%? 4.8. Right? Now I have to calculate 2 times of this number. So 2 times of 4.8 is nothing but how much will come? 9.6. Okay now friends, so like this you can calculate the 20%. I will give one more number. So 20% of 55. So what is the 20% of 55? So first I will calculate the 10%. 10% is nothing but 5.5. Then 2 times of 5.5. 2 times of 5.5 is nothing but how much will come? 11. Similarly, 20% of 9. So what is the 20% of 9? First I will calculate the 10%. What is the 10% of 9? 10% of 9 means 0.9. Then I have to multiply it by 2, which is equal to how much will it come? 1.8. Now I want to calculate 20% of 0.4. Already I told in the basic class, okay, whenever the decimal will come in the percentages, the number of decimal places will be increased by 1. Here 1 place is there, then it will increase by 1 more place. So 10% of 0.4 is nothing but 0.04. Now we have to multiply it by 2 times. So 2 into 0.04 is nothing but 0.08. 8. Okay now friends, so like this we can multiply, we can calculate the 20% of a certain number. Now we will discuss the 30% of certain number. So how to calculate a 30%? So I am writing 30% is nothing but we can remember easily 3 times of 10%. 30% is nothing but we can write 3 times of 10%. That means we have to calculate 10% multiplied by 3. So first I will start with the number, 2-digit number. 30% of 15. So what is the 30% of 15? First you have to calculate the 10%. 10% of 15 is nothing but 1.5. Now we have to multiply it by 3 times. So 3 times of 1.5 is equal to how much will come? 4.5. Now I want to calculate 30% of 160. So what is the 30% of 160 means? First you have to calculate 10%. So 10% is nothing but 16. So 3 times of 16 is nothing but how much will come? 48. So that is the 30% of 160. Friends, next I want to calculate 30% of 185. So what is the 30% of 185? Now first calculate the 10% of 185. 10% of 185 is nothing but 18.5. Now we have to multiply it by 3. 3 into 18.5 is equal to how much will come? 55.5 will come. Okay now friends. Similarly, what is the 30% of 1240? So 30% of 1240 means first you have to calculate the 10%. 10% is equal to 124. Then you have to multiply it by 3 times. 3 times of 144 is equal to 3 4s are 12, 3 12s are 36, 1 is equal to 37. So 372. Okay now friends. Similarly, if you want to calculate 30% of 1.4. So how to calculate the 30% of 1.4? Here already one decimal place is there. So when you are calculating 10% of that number, the one decimal place will be increased. So here 1 already is there, so 2 places will come. So 10% of 1.4 is equal to 0.14. Then multiplied by 3 is nothing but how much will come? 4.2 will come. 3 14 is 42. So 0.42 will come. Okay now friends, so like this we can calculate the 30%. Now next, once you know the 20%, 10%, 20%, 30%, similarly we can calculate the 40%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%, 110%, 120%, so on. First I will calculate the 40%. So remember friends, 40% is nothing but we have to multiply it by 4 times of 10%. So 40% is nothing but 4 into 10%. Example, 40% of 240. So what is the 40% of 240? First you have to calculate 10%. 10% is nothing but 24. So 4 times of 24. 4 times of 24 is nothing but how much will it come? 96. Similarly, 40% of 1.23. So what is the 40% of 1.23 means? First you have to calculate 10%. 10% is nothing but 0.123. 4 times of this number is nothing but how much will it come? 4 3s are 12, 4 12s are 48. So 0.492 will come. Okay friends, so like that we can write 40% of any number, right? Similarly, how to calculate 50% is nothing but directly we can say 50% of any number is nothing but how much will come? X by 2 will come. For example, 50% of 120. So 50% of 120 means nothing, directly you can write half of the number. Half of the number is nothing but how much? 60. Similarly 50% of 44, half of this number is 22. Similarly 50% of 3480 is nothing but half of this number is equal to 1740. So always 50% is nothing but half of the number. So once you know the 50%, then you can calculate the above 50% like 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. Right friends, so how to calculate the 60%? 60% of any number is nothing but 60% you can write as a 2 times. One is 6 times of 10%, or 60% can be split into 2 parts. One is 60% is nothing but 50% plus 10%. Okay, already I told 50% is nothing but half of the number. 10% means we have to take the last decimal place. Okay, example, 60% of 360. So what is it? 60% of 360. First you have to calculate 50%, then 10%. So what is the 50% of 360? 180 plus what is the 10% of 360? 36. So 180 plus 36 is nothing but how much will come? 216. Okay now friends, 60% is nothing but 50% plus 10%. 50% of the number is nothing but half of the number plus 10%. Right? Suppose 60% of 48. So what is the 60% of 48? So first you have to calculate 50%. 50% is nothing but half of this number. Half of this number is nothing but how much? 24. Now I want to calculate the 10% of 48. So what is the 10% of 48 is nothing but 4.8, which is equal to how much will come? 28.8. Okay now friends, similarly if you want to calculate 60% of 3.2. So what is the 60% of 3.2? Half of the 3.2 is nothing but how much will come? 1.6 plus 10% of 3.2 is nothing but 0.32, which is equal to 1.92. Okay now friends, so like this we can calculate the 60%. Similarly we can calculate the 70%. What is the 70% means? We can write 50% plus 20%. Okay, right? For example, 70% of 120. So what is the 70% of 120 means? First you have to calculate the 50%. 50% of 120 is nothing but how much will it come? 60. And 10% is nothing but 12. 2 times of 12 is equal to 24, is equal to 84. Or we can write 7 times of 10%. What is the 10%? 12. 7 12 is equal to how much will it come? 84. Like that also we can calculate, right? So for example, 70% is nothing but 70% of 840. So what is the 70% of 840? So first 20 half of the 50%. 50% is nothing but how much will it come? 420 plus 20% of this number. 20% of this number is nothing but 10% is equal to 84. 2 times of 84 is nothing but 168, which is equal to how much will it come? 588. Okay now friends, so like that 70% you can calculate. Similarly, if I want to calculate 80%, 80% you can write 50% plus 30%, right? Or 8 times of 10% you can say. So 8%, 8 times of 10% also you can say. For example, I want to calculate 80% of 150. So what is the 80% of 150 means? 2 times. One is 10% is equal to 15. 8 times of 15 is equal to 120. That is a one method. Second method, 50% plus 30%. What is the 50%? 50% of 150 is equal to 75, and 1% is equal to 15. So 3 times of 15 is equal to how much will come? 45, which is equal to how much will come? 120. Okay, now friends, like that we can calculate 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%. But how to calculate the 90%, right? Okay friends, 90% is nothing but first we have to calculate the 100%. So 100% of any number is equal to same number only will come. 100% of x is equal to x only will come, right? Therefore if I say 100% of 60, that means answer is equal to how much will come? 60. 100% of 500, that means how much will come? Same 500 will come. So once you are understanding how to find out the 100%, then 90% and 110% we can calculate very easily. So how to calculate 90%? Always 90% is nothing but 100% minus 10%. This is the 90%. Okay now friends, 90% is nothing but 100% minus 10%. So similarly, for example, I want to calculate 90% of 180. So what is the 90% of 180? So 90% can be written as 100% minus 10%. So similarly, 90% of 180 is nothing but 100% is nothing but 180 minus 10%. 10% means 10% of 180. 10% of 180 is equal to 18. So 180 minus 18 is nothing but how much will come? 162 will come. Okay now friends, that is a 90%. I will give one more example. 90% of 440. So what is the 90% of 440? First 100%. 100% we can write as easily 440 minus, we have to calculate 10% of 440. So what is the 10% of 440 means? 44. So we have to subtract this 44, which is equal to how much will come? 396. Okay now friends, so always 90% is nothing but 100% minus 10%. Similarly, I want to calculate 110%. Okay now friends, so what is the meaning of 110% means? 110% is nothing but 100% plus 10%. Right friends, these percentage values are very very important. So 110% calculating means we have to calculate first 100%, then 10%. Now let us discuss 2-3 examples. I want to calculate 110% of 450. So what is the 110% of 450? First I will calculate 100%. 100% is nothing but 440 plus 10%. What is the 10% of 450? Which is equal to how much? 45. So 110% of 450 is nothing but 450 plus 45, which is equal to 495. Similarly, 110% of 36. So how to calculate 110% of 36? What is the 100%? 100% is equal to 36. What is the 10% of 36? 3.6. So 36 plus 3.6 is nothing but how much will come? 39.6. Okay now friends, like that we can calculate the 110%. One more example, 110% of 0.48. So what is the 110% of 0.48 means? First 100% is nothing but 0.48 plus 10% of 0.48 is nothing but 0.048, because two places are there. When you are calculating the 10%, one more decimal place will be increased. So 0.48 plus 0.048 is nothing but 0.8. 0.88. Okay now friends, 0.48 plus 0.48 is nothing but 0.8. So 0.8, 4 plus 8 is equal to 12, 1, so 5. So 0.528. Right friends, like that we can calculate up to 110%. Now how to calculate 120%, 130%, 140%? Now I will tell you now onwards directly values. Suppose I want to calculate 120%. 120% can be written as 100% plus 20% we can write. Okay now friends, example 120% of 420. So 120% of 420 is nothing but, already I told 120% is nothing but 100% plus 20%. Now I want to apply for this 120% for 420 is nothing but 100% is nothing but how much will come? 420 plus we have to calculate 20% of 420. 20% of 420 is nothing but 10% is equal to 42. 20% is equal to 84. So is nothing but how much will come? 504. Understood or not? Similarly, I want to calculate 130%. 130% is nothing but 100% plus 30%. Okay now friends, so is nothing but how to calculate. Example 130% of 45. So what is the 130% of 45? First 100%. 100% is nothing but 45 plus 30% I have to calculate. 10% is equal to 4.5. 30% is equal to how much will come? 13.5. So is nothing but how much will come? 58.5. Okay now friends, so 130% is nothing but 100% plus 30%. Similarly 140%. 140% is nothing but how to calculate 100% plus 40%. Clear friends? Yes or no? That means I want to calculate 140% of 120. So what is 140% of 120 means? 100% is equal to how much will come? 120. Now I want to calculate 40% of 120, which is nothing but 10% is equal to 12. So 40% is equal to 412. How much will come? 48 is equal to 168. Okay friends, like that we can calculate till 140%. Now how to calculate 150%? 150% is nothing but 150%. 150% nothing but 100% plus 50%. Simply what we'll do means that number plus half of that number is equal to how much will come? 150% will come. For example, 150% of 180. So what is the 150% of 180? 150% can be written as 100% plus 50% is nothing but 100% is equal to 180 and half of 180 is equal to how much? 90, which is equal to how much will come? 270. Okay friends, similarly I want to calculate 150% of 30. So what is the 150% of 30 means? 100% of 30 is equal to 30 and half of the 30 is equal to 15. So is nothing but how much will come? 45. Clear friends? So we got how to calculate percentage values from 10% to 150%. Similarly, if I want to calculate 160%, 100% plus 60% or 100 plus and 100% plus 50% plus 60%. 170%, 100 plus 50 plus 20. 180%, 100 plus 50 plus 30, or we can multiply directly. Okay friends, right.